Chair.
The meeting of the Standing Finance Committee is now resumed. And we are now considering Head 15, the Tobago House of Assembly. Head 15, Tobago House of Assembly, $2,175,683,000. I now invite the Minister of Planning to make a brief opening statement, not exceeding 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. Madam Chairman. Madam Chairman, without prejudice to Section 75(1) of the Constitution, the Tobago House of Assembly shall, in relation to Tobago, be responsible for the formulation and implementation of policy in respect of the matters set out in the 5th schedule. The Deputy Chief Secretary and Secretary for Finance and the Economy, in his budget presentation for the fiscal year 2017-2018, indicated that the budgetary proposals were predicated on the following thematic areas: building economic resilience, fostering innovation and creativity, supporting our tourism industry, revitalizing our agricultural sector, developing our human capital, providing housing opportunities, enhancing healthcare delivery, fostering and stimulating rural development, holistic development of young adults, preserving our pristine natural environment, and empowering and building communities. Divisions were realigned and one new division created for greater efficiency and achievement of the strategic mandate using the existing complement of staff. Madam Chairman, the staff complement is as follows. Total number of public officers, 1,707. Total number of vacant positions, 1,075. 551 with bodies, 524 without bodies. Total number of contract employees, 1,827. Total number of short-term employees, 266. Total number of daily rated, 7,725. Madam Chairman, a consultant has been engaged to perform performance management systems, increase in the internal audit staff, establishment of the procurement unit in anticipation of the procurement legislation, and assessing proposals for the Assembly's accounting framework. All financial statements of the Tobago House of Assembly up to financial year ended September 30th, 2016 have been submitted to the Auditor General. The Tobago House of Assembly is also being asked to share in the burden of adjustment, and reductions will require the THA to suppress expenditure and utilize the facility environment and transfers of funding to meet critical needs to address any shortfalls in areas which are critical to the revitalization strategies. Madam Chairman, we would also like to indicate that the Tobago House of Assembly is particularly pleased that in the statement made by the Minister of Finance, that consideration is now being given to the THA being allowed to borrow on its own and not through the government of Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you very much, Madam Chairman.
Honourable members, the question is that the sum of $2,175,683,000 for Head 15, Tobago House of Assembly, stand part of the schedule. Honourable members, the sum of $2,175,683,000 for Head 15, Tobago House of Assembly, is comprised of monies proposed for expenditure under the following subheads and items to be found in the draft estimates of recurrent expenditure the draft estimates of the revenue and expenditure of statutory bodies and similar bodies and of the Tobago House of Assembly, and the draft estimates of the development program and the draft estimates of the development program, full stop. We now proceed to consider the draft estimates of recurrent expenditure. Member?
Can we ask a question of something that the minister said in her presentation for clarification?
Well, I would think if maybe you could tie it to a line item, I would have no difficulty.
Okay.
Okay? Subhead 06, current transfers to statutory boards and similar bodies, which is page 64. But I would want to suggest, members, that we go straight to the draft estimates of revenue and expenditure of statutory boards and similar bodies of the Tobago House of Assembly, for the very reason that the first thing is just a summary and the details are in the draft estimates of revenue and expenditure. And we are at page 11, Division 01, Assembly Legislature, Subhead 01, Personal Expenditure, page 11, 001, General Administration. Member for Caroni Central.
Yeah, one simple question. Can you tell me the number of employees directly hired by the House of Assembly?
We were given that information last year. What is the category of employee you wish? No, but what do you want? All right, I'll give you the information that we have. Total number of public officers, 1,707. Total number of contract employees, 1,827. Total number of short-term employees, 266. Total number of daily rated workers, 7,725.
Okay, Member for Naparima.
Much. Would the minister care to tell us what percentage of the population, workers in Tobago are employed directly first by the THA, given these figures, and indirectly subsequently?
I don't think we can provide that kind
Is
of
it
information.
70%, 80%?
We can't provide that kind of information. I can provide you with the number of employees in the Assembly, which I have done, and that's what we can do.
So as Minister of Finance, you have no sense of what proportion of the
That is not
population?
relevant to the line item under discussion.
It is, because it's part of the planning
Well, I
for
will
Tobago,
defer to
but
the chairman on this, but I can't speak about the demographics of Tobago, the population of Tobago.
But you must have a sense,
But,
Mr.
Madam
Member,
Chairman, I will defer to you on this.
I think that that's information that maybe somebody could get from CSO
Yeah,
as far as the
in the
total
public domain.
population and then do their calculations. Member for Naparima, you okay? Member for Tabakit. Okay, so we go on to Subhead 02, Goods and Services, page 11, 001, General Administration, pages 11 and 12. Subhead 03, Member for Caroni Central.
02?
Head 02001, General Administration.
Yes, just two questions. One has to do with 28 other contracted services. No, sorry, my error. Janitorial services, and the reason I asked is that I noticed in most of the other entities that we have examined, we've seen an increase for this item, and I just wanted the amount, although there is no increase, I just wanted the amount explained. And the second issue is that I wanted to understand if there was a constituency office, this is line item 64, for each assemblyman who has a ministerial or a secretarial portfolio. Yeah.
Well, Madam Chairman, I'm a little confused on the first item because there has been no change. I'm not sure, therefore, what the question is. And the second question wasn't clear either. What exactly is the issue with constituency offices?
No, I just wanted to know if this represented the cost of all the secretaries in the, for
No,
the,
this would be just like the national parliament. This would be a provision to deal with the elected members of the House of
yes, so
Assembly.
it's their offices, is that it?
Elected, just the same way that local government
Right.
representatives have offices. In Trinidad, members of parliament have offices. Then, in addition, the elected members of the House of Assembly would have offices.
Okay,
as
so
well.
it would be for each. All right.
Member for Tabakit.
Madam Chair. Under contract employment, I noticed that the salaries for under personnel is 4.3 million, but contract employment amounts to $2 million. Why is contract employment so high? And Madam Chair, I know we didn't deal with the summary pages, but the contract employment in the summary page is $220 million for, but that's the page we skipped before we came to page 11. So my general question, why is contract employment so high in the Tobago House of Assembly?
I can answer that. The number of vacant positions at present is 1,075. So that there's a delay in the appointment of public officers, as applies in Trinidad as well.
Subhead 03, minor equipment purchases, page 12001, general administration. Member for Tabakit.
Item number 66 on the general administration, hosting of conferences, seminars, and other functions. I noticed that the amount spent was 1.488 and the estimate was 1.5.
Member, we are at subhead 03, minor equipment purchases 001,
Okay,
general administration.
okay. I'll complete again.
Subhead 04, current transfers and subsidies, page 12, 007, general administration, page 12. Division 02, Office of the Chief Secretary, subhead 01, personal expenditure, page 13. 001, general administration, page 13, member for Tabakit.
Under salaries and cost of living allowance, that is 01, is the salary of the chief secretary and the assemblyman in that 4.5 million?
No,
Where would one find it?
under legislature.
In this very document.
This book.
Yeah, okay.
In this book. When we get to that, we could deal with it.
Sorry?
When we get to that item, we can
Sure,
deal with
no problem.
Remember, when we looked at Division 1, Assembly legislatures. Subhead 002, information, page 14. Member for Point of Pear.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To the Minister, line item 34, University Graduate Recruitment Program. I see a decrease of 1 million, but throughout all the other heads, you had allocated to maintain this line item in the different heads, but in Tobago House of Assembly, I see it's been done away with.
You Chair.
I'm somewhat confused at what you said. There's no increase.
No, I say you have decreased it. It's no longer a line item
It's not
for
decrease,
2018.
it's been removed.
Yeah, it's been removed. But in the other heads that we have done so far, it has been maintained, even though we have not, the government
that's
of the day have
okay.
not done anything about it or instituted
The
it.
House of Assembly is a semi-autonomous body. They can address this issue in the way that they deem appropriate.
Okay, so I'm just asking.
They don't have to follow Trinidad.
Okay, they don't have to follow Trinidad.
No.
They are a law unto themselves.
Semi-autonomous.
Okay.
They are not a law unto themselves. That's a bad statement you just made.
Member for Tabakit.
Official overseas travel, number 27. I'd like to find out
Yes, sir.
what overseas travel was involved for the $400,000 fully spent, completely spent. $400,000.
Okay, member, we are still on 002. I know the print is quite fine. Okay, so are we finished with 002? And if so, I'll go on to 007, Public Administration, and Member of Tabakit. For Tabakit, you can now ask a question. We're on page 15. Okay?
All right.
He was in the wrong location.
All right, we've gone fast, so they got away. But you see,
You were
Madam Chair, let me just, with your permission, going through the items like this is important, I agree. But in the summary pages, the real expenditures of the Tobago House of Assembly can be seen. When you look at individual items of contract employment on each one of these categories of the different secretariats, that's one thing. But when you look at page 4 and you see contract employment in 2017 of $220 million, and the minister says there are 1,075 persons employed under contract employment, I'm trying to equate $220 million with 1,075 persons. And that is where my difficulty is coming.
which item
So if I'm a little behind, it's because I'm trying to reflect and see how are these figures tallying? Because $220 million on contract employment is, in my view, a very large sum for a place like Tobago.
But your question just now was in respect
Well,
to
my
not
question,
overseas
my question,
travel?
but that was gone. You had gone past that. So I'm now on page 15 with you, and I'm back to contract employment. And here you have contract employment of $5 million, and now a budget of 3.3. And I asked the question again, because I cannot reconcile 1,075 persons unless I have something missing to that very bigger figure of $220 million.
We are not speaking about that. We are on page 15, line item 16.
Line 16.
Which is a figure of 3.3 million. So I don't know why you're using a different number.
Maybe I should have sought the permission of the Honorable Chairman to really deal with the summary pages where the breakdown of estimates are given in total, so you'd have a total view of what's happening in the Assembly and not this disparate way.
But member, may it help you then if you ask how many people are employed under this?
I asked that, and that's the whole question. I asked that, and he said 1,075
Right.
No, I
contract
did not
workers.
say that. I said there are 1,827 contract
All right, so even 1,875 total.
1,827.
Right. Good. And even that in total of the contract workers, that should equate to the $220 million being spent on contract employment as given on page 4 of the Assembly document. And I find difficulty reconciling it. And therefore I'm saying that a clear enough picture is not being given to the taxpayers of this country and Tobago who are contributing to the expenditure of Tobago under
Madam
the law.
Chairman, may I ask what line item is the member on?
Member is on item 16 on page 15.
And the figure there is 3,329,000, not 200 million.
And member, would it assist you if you found out how many people were engaged?
No,
under
Madam
this
Chair, I'll
item?
move on, but I find
Okay.
it disconcerting that we cannot deal with the global figure, which reflects really what the expenditure on contract employment is in Tobago, unless there's some other explanation. So I will move on.
Member for Naparima.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm looking at item 16, contract employment, and item 22, and that is 300. The first one is 3.3 million, and short-term employment 837. And I'm trying to understand, Madam Chair, why this reliance on contract and short-term employees? Is there something that we do not
I
understand?
answered that. I said the Public Service Commission has been tardy in filling the posts on the establishment, hence the need to hire people on contract. I explained that, and that there are 1,075 vacancies on the permanent establishment that have not been filled by the Service Commission.
So the follow-up question, and it would not be allowed, I know, is that why don't we not correct that problem? If we have a problem that creates this situation, and we're asking the question, why this, because this cannot be a optimal way of operating a public service, and I go on.
So perhaps you want to move on to the next item?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me just ask on item number 16, contract employment for the 3.3 million, how many individuals this apply to, and also the short-term employment, if you can get that in writing or you have it? No.
We'll get it for you.
Thank you.
Minister of Finance, we have the answer
For him.
in writing?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
of course.
We didn't understand that.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. (008) Tobago Emergency Management Agency, pages 15 and 16, member for Princestown.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Minister, just to follow up on a question that was asked by Carney Central under line item 37 on page 16. I just wanted to have a sense, Minister, we have an increase here by 50,000, but I wanted to have a sense of whether similarly with other ministries and agencies, we saw that there were outstanding bills that accounted for increases under this particular vote across the board. And when I look further down, which we'll come to, it's a similar pattern developing here at the Tobago House of Assembly. Can you indicate whether or not this is MTS, whether these are private service providers, and whether or not these increases represent monies or funds to be utilized for outstanding bills?
Is it private providers? Private contractors.
In that, Honorable Minister, can we then have a list of who these private contractors are?
It will
and
be
the,
provided for you.
and the values of these contracts and the time period, please?
Okay. Yes.
Item 009, Occupational Safety and Health, page 16. Item 010, Information Systems Department, page 17. Member for Naprima.
Item 16, contract employment. The question is, yes, could we ask for all the contract employees? Right. And in response to the minister, in Trinidad, all the other ministries, why is, if the problem is the Service Commission, why do we not see a profusion of contract employees in the other ministries, like Foreign Affairs, for example? He's in charge, so you go ahead. We'll deal with it. He's in charge.
So, Minister, no response.
Madam Chairman, the point is the government has no control over the Public Service Commission. It's an independent body under the Constitution appointed by His Excellency in his discretion. The government has no locus, cannot influence the Service Commission in any way in terms of filling positions, and as the Honorable Attorney General has reminded me, there are Privy Council decisions to this. Yes, and therefore it is wrong of the member to imply that the government could somehow compel the Service Commission
You
to fill
clearly
these
didn't
vacancies.
understand what I said. I didn't
And
say
that
to
is why,
compel.
and that is why I've asked for
I
this,
just asked, why is
Madam
it not
Chairman. I don't
applicable to
know. I don't
Trinidad?
know why the member is behaving this way. I am simply explaining very calmly. There's no need to get on like
No,
that.
no.
And that is why I've asked, since this
Let's
is
move on,
this is the
Madam.
work.
Let's move on, Madam
no,
Chair.
no, no. You
Let's
had your
move
say,
on.
Madam Chairman. He had his say. I would like to have mine.
Can I have my say after you have your say?
And therefore, can we
members?
move on, please?
Members, let's move on. Minister of Finance, I think after having given that comprehensive answer, I'm sure this question is now resolved.
Moot.
Sometimes we need to all be reminded.
I agree.
Okay, please. 011 Planning, page 17. 012 Land Management, page 18. Subhead 03 Minor Equipment Purchases, page 18. 001 General Administration, page 18. 002 Information, page 18. 007 Public Administration, page 19. 008 Tobago Emergency Management Agency, page 19. Member for Princess Song.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, through you to the Honorable Minister, line item 04, with respect to the decrease in the area of minor equipment for TEMA. I know up to today, TEMA has had to address several issues. Could the Honorable Minister indicate whether or not this would affect the operations of TEMA in terms of delivery to the people of Tobago with respect to emergency case situations?
What exactly is the? Could you repeat that?
The operations of TEMA. We have a decrease of other minor equipment of 700,000. I noted that up to today that TEMA has had to have been involved in several emergency cases in Tobago, and I'm wondering how this would affect their operations.
The Tobago House Assembly gets its funding in a block vote, and they have the authority to move money around between heads. I'm certain if they require equipment, perhaps a vehicle or something like that, they will make the appropriate adjustments. It's not a large sum. In the context of a $2 billion allocation, 87,000 is not a huge sum. I'm sure they can find the money from another head if it is necessary.
Item 009 Occupational Health and Safety, page 19. Item 010 Information Systems Department, page 19. Item 011 Planning, page 20. Member for Caroni Central.
Can I ask, Madam Chair, if the powers made available by the Planning and Facilitation Bill have been transferred to the House of Assembly?
Well, that would have required proclamation of the relevant section. I'm not aware that that was done.
Madam Chairman,
Yes,
I'd
ma'am.
like to say that that section of the bill has not been proclaimed. The only sections that have been proclaimed thus far dealt with the development of the administration. So that question is not relevant.
He knows that.
Member for Caroni Central, do you have another question?
No, I would just respond by saying the question cannot be deemed to be not relevant. I got the answer.
Thank you. 012 Land Management, page 20. Subhead 04 Current Transfers and Subsidies, page 20. 005 Non-Profit Institutions, member for Naparima.
Tell us what is this partnership for political and economic? it doesn't continue, so I would imagine.
04.
The budget, 04, and it's 300,000. Just want to know what it is.
Pardon? What do you want to know what that is?
Yeah, what that expenditure relates to.
What is the partnership over the
I guess this is the transformation issues with regard to
representation office? It's a transformation.
like payment for things like the autonomy bill and stuff.
Apparently, this is expenditure related to the new arrangements for Tobago in terms of internal self-government and so on. So it's part of that process.
Okay. And with respect to 005 non-profit institutions, could we just get a list of the organizations
Yes.
involved subsequently?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Member for Tabakit?
No, it was asked, Madam Chair.
Member for Princestown?
Madam Chair, to the Honorable Minister, line item 01, similarly, a follow-up to Naprema and Tabakit, not only a list, but also if we can be provided with the amounts that has been given to these non-profit organizations over the past financial year. And 02, if you can provide some clarity in terms of what is the role, function, operations of this Ecclesiastes desk.
Position to give a response with respect to the nature of the Ecclesiastes desk.
Assistance to churches. Assistance to religious bodies.
Member for Couva South?
007, not.
Oh, we haven't reached this yet. Member for Tabakit?
And the item number 303, what is this, what is meant by representation office and who are the beneficiaries of this amount, annual amount of $250,000?
02. This one here, representation
Tobago freeness,
Recurrent transfers where things offices and some
freeness, free money.
infrastructure matters.
I'm not jealous. I'm not jealous. I'm just feeling like a stepchild.
Put Princestown after.
I'm advised that this is an allocation to assist with minor upgrades to constituency offices.
Member for Princestown?
Madam Chair, just to go back to line item 02, the Ecclesiastes desk.
Yes.
I would like to have some further clarification on this. Is it a operation unit that is involved at the THA, or is this sum of $250,250,000 representative of contributions that have been made to religious organizations? And if so, if we can have a provision of who these organizations were and the sums that were allocated over the last fiscal year, totaling
Donations, so
$250,000.
we'll give you a list.
Donations. Okay.
You will recall that your government did that as well, in an effort to win the 2015 election, which failed.
Member for Couva South? Do you still have a question?
Yes, I have a question on the
Okay, members.
007, madam.
007. We haven't reached this yet.
Yeah.
Are we finished with 005 non-profit institutions? Okay, so we're moving on to 007 transfers to households, Couva South. Page 20.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Could we have a clarification of 03 urgent temporary assistance? What is that, and how this $1 million is going to be spent in 2018?
This is what is colloquially known as food cards. Conditional cash transfer, I believe, is the official name, and also known as food cards. for needy people.
So, Mr. Minister, if I could just follow through the chair. The criteria for such and Tobago falls under falls in line with the Ministry of Social Development's criteria?
In accordance with the Tobago House of Assembly Act, this is one of the delegated authorities to the Assembly.
Zero zero nine other transfers, page 21. Member for Chaguanas East.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I suspect 019 item is incomplete, so I don't know what it means. Establishment of comprehensive economic what? And could you tell us what that money has been, or the monies have been allocated so far for the last 2 years? What have been the outcomes, the achievements of it? And what is the 1.6 million going to be used for again? So I don't know what is the economic something it's missing.
Well, that's a very long question. The answer is very short. This is for strategic planning. The THA is constantly trying to improve itself and to generate economic activity in Tobago.
So they're spending $4.8 million in 3 years to do a strategic plan? Is that what you're saying?
It's for strategic planning.
Yes, strategic planning. Yes, I know. Strategic planning. I understand.
I think the gentleman...
$4.8 million.
Yes, I got the question, and I will deal with that in context now.
Yeah.
I think the gentleman to your left could have spent a couple $100 million on the same exercise in Trinidad.
I'm asking you the question.
Strategic planning.
$4.8 million?
That is essential in a $2 billion budget to spend and not even 4 million. You have it wrong. 1.6 million to plan strategically how to use 2 billion is money well spent.
You know the mathematics well. I'm doing the addition, and you're very good at that. Madam Chair, can I go on to line item 02, please?
Yes, ma'am.
To get some details as to what this Information Technology Limited for $5 million has been allocated to do. I'm saying it slowly, $5 million. If we could get an idea as to the impact of it.
That is something that we are seeking to pursue in Trinidad as well. The use of call centers as a area to generate activity and employment. This is for a call center, establishment of a call center in Tobago, and Tobago has really been quite successful in this area.
Might you be able to indicate to you, Madam Chair, like if it has been quite successful, how many persons have been able to...
They have attracted a call center. That is why you have the 5 million there for 2018.
Okay.
Obviously, there's nothing in 2017, so you could not have done anything before.
I was just using the English language that you use.
All right, thank you.
But could I get a sense as to what is the projected amount of jobs that this 5 million...
Okay, you want the number of jobs. What else?
I just want an idea.
That's all? Jobs?
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, it's
The amount of investment.
no, you say 5 million allocated.
We'll give you the information on the number of jobs and the kind of work being done.
Okay.
Member for Tabakit.
The establishment of comprehensive economic, I suggest, is the last word plan or is the last word planning?
I beg your
On
pardon?
that 901, is it establishment of comprehensive economic planning or plan?
Yes.
No. Is it plan or planning?
Plan.
Plan. Is there a document that has been produced that therefore reflects
Yes.
the plan?
Yes, I've seen it.
Is this a document that has been done internally or by consultants?
Combination of both.
Who are the consultants, and would the minister care to name the
Anything else you
consultants?
want to know?
Minister, I don't want to engage in any tit for tat with you.
I
But you know, you
am
made a
trying-
statement here just
Madam
now.
Chairman.
No, hold on.
Well, what is this
Suggesting.
all? Why is he haranguing me?
You see, if you make a statement,
he
you must allow us to
haranguing me?
respond to the statement.
What is
No,
this all
but Madam
about?
Chair, there's fairness involved in this.
Fairness in what?
I just want to say this to all of us here. I think we're still in the season of light, and I think we're engaged in a process of bringing light. And therefore, if we could all take a little look at our individual attitudes and see how much lighting, not lightning, how much lighting there is. Please, so I'd ask all members.
View of the fact that the member has a long list of questions, we will provide the answer in writing, and this is why I'm asking you, is there anything else you want to know? So that the scribes will take note of your questions and you'll get a written answer. The scribes, the people who are recording what's going on.
By the casino workers outside of your house yesterday.
Again, members, remember I talk about
You
this-
sent them?
Excuse me, we move on. Division 03, Finance and the Economy. Subhead 01, Personal Expenditure, page 22. 001, General Administration, page 22. Member for Carrick Central?
Yeah, ma'am, I really wanted to ask a question on the section before 009. Would you allow me?
On this one occasion.
Yes.
And therefore, as again I said, if we, and I'm not accusing anybody, but if we try and focus, I think we will all get far.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah, it's,
And this is the only question I'm allowing
Yes.
us, and we're moving.
And I want to preface this by saying to the Minister of Finance that the question is asked not in mischief. I'm just trying to establish something. No, it's not in mischief. If it's in mischief, I would ask it.
I take you at your word,
Yes.
please.
The $5 million here is for the Tobago Information Technology
We're under
Limited.
02.
Yes.
Yes, please.
And the minute, when he asked what questions would you like answered, the member for Chaguanas, he said employees, and I said investment. And he acted as if it was not an appropriate, I'm interpreting, question. But the reason I wanted to ask is because this is a state investment of $5 million, and I wanted to know if there was any, he said that there was a company, if there were workers. So I wanted to know if there was a private sector investment also attached to this. That's all.
All right. Thank you. So I think that's by way of clarification. Okay, so I think the minister would have got, Minister, are you in a position to answer?
Yes, I can
Right.
answer, and the answer is no.
Okay? And as I said, this is the last thing we're taking on this. Right.
And what was the procurement process for the acquisition of that private investor?
There wasn't one.
Wasn't one? Oh.
Was not. Answer is no.
Oh.
No means no, it doesn't
So
mean
the-
yes.
Okay,
five-
Division 03, Finance and the Economy. Subhead 01, Personal Expenditure, page 22. 001, General Administration, page 22. Member for Point of Pear.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question in 003, Customs. Can I ask that question? No.
01,
Okay.
General Administration. 002, Finance and Accounting. 003, Customs, Member for Point of Pear.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Page 22.
To the Minister. To the Minister, I'm taking line item 01 under 003 Customs and 03 together. I'm assuming it's interrelated. Salaries for 01 for Customs, I'm assuming these are custom officers? Is that correct? Yes. So 01, the salaries for custom officers are $380,000 estimated for 2018. first question is how many officers this applies to, and then line item 03, overtime for these same officers of $4.5 million in overtime. Why is there such a wide disparity between overtime and the actual salary? 11 times higher in the overtime than the actual salaries of these officers. 15 times? 15 times.
First item is for administrative staff. Second item is for the actual officers themselves who get paid for working on weekends, beyond normal working hours, on public holidays, etc. As occurs in Trinidad.
Yeah, I know. So
As
01
you-
is administrative staff. It
Yes,
doesn't apply
office
to
staff.
custom officers.
Office staff.
Right,
The
so-
overtime is paid to the officers who actually do the customs inspection. Same as Trinidad.
Yeah, so their salaries of overtime would not apply to the Trinidad allocation under the Ministry of Finance for customs?
The Tobago House of Assembly has delegated authority under the Tobago House of Assembly Act, under the 6th schedule, and 5th schedule. Check it out. This is the Ministry of Finance, to the member of Naparima who is talking over there. Customs is a division of the Ministry of Finance, not National Security.
I didn't ask for
Comprend?
national.
Okay, so can we move on?
I was dealing with Minister of Finance. Prima, you'd have to,
We
you
just
know.
did.
So can I get how many officers this overtime applies to, please?
Would the answer be provided in writing?
Yeah.
Certainly.
Okay, member for Point Repair, are you finished? Okay, so can we go on to 004, Inland Revenue, page 23. 013, Cooperatives, page 23. Subhead 02, Goods and Services, 001, General Administration, pages 23 and 24. 002, Finance and Accounting, page 24. 003, Customs, page 24 and 25. 004, Inland Revenue, page 25. 007, Fiscal Policy Research Unit, page 25. 008, Budget Division, page 26. 011, Business Development Unit, page 26. Member for Tabakit.
Track employment in the business development unit. I'd like to know whether under those officers, are there any officers employed to give the Tobago House of Assembly advice on the loans that we now have permission to borrow?
What line item is this?
Line item 16.
No.
Zero 12, Consumer Affairs, pages 26 and 27. 013, Cooperatives. 015, Financial Literacy, Secretariat, pages 27 and 28. 01, Member for Tabakit.
16, what do these people do in this financial literacy secretariat, and how many persons have benefited from this unit of $1.751 million?
1.75?
Backwards? You're going back to another page?
No.
What
Page
you on?
27.
Page 27? Yeah, but what line item are you on?
16. What are
Contract
these-
employment?
This is the financial literacy secretariat. I want to know, what are these people doing, these contract employees?
$50,000?
$1.5 million. Contract employment.
Use the ruler.
Can't see straight.
The training.
I'm seeing now.
Should I see it later? Secretariat.
Okay. What is it?
This secretariat. Training other businesses.
Okay. This is an outreach program assisting businesses and individuals to become financially literate, and these contract employees engage in training on other outreach efforts.
And I suppose you could provide us with a comprehensive list of the number of programs held, number of persons who benefited?
Sure.
Member for Couva South?
Thank you, Madam Chair. You finished with Financial Literacy Secretariat.
Okay. All right, so we're now calling 016 Youth Energized for Success. Page 28, Couva South.
Yes, Madam Chair, could the Minister tell us what is this Youth Energized for Success focus on, and under contract employment, how much persons are employed, and under the short-term employment, because I see contract employment, there's an allocation of $148,000, and short-term employment, there's an allocation of $1.5 million.
What's the question? What's the question?
What is the focus of Youth Energized for Success?
We'll put it in writing, but I want to make the point, Madam Chairman, this is not new. These programs have been here for years, and this same question was asked last year and answer given. But we'll do it again.
Member for Chaguanas East.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If the Honorable Minister of Finance could add to that to tell us for this investment of $2 million for the last fiscal, how many youths have been successfully energized? So we could know the return on investment.
Let you know how many youths were energized. You want the energy levels
017
too?
Emergency Social. You have a question? Member for Princeton, do you have a question on the 016?
Yes, Madam.
Yes, please.
Honorable Minister, going back again on the areas of short-term employment, line 22, and contract employment, line 16. The Youth Energized for Success, what is the mandate, but more importantly, how do you use, what benchmarks, do you use in terms of measuring these mandates in terms of the success of it?
I just indicated we'll provide you with the details on the program, purpose, intent, successes, etc. So we'll give you a document that will explain all that.
017 Emergency Social and Medical Assistance Unit. 018 Communications Unit, page 29. Member for Couva South.
Madam Chair, could the Minister just give us under 28 other contracted services, what this $1.4 million, $1,468,000 is being spent on?
What would that be? We'll send you that in writing.
.019 Economic Management and Research Unit, page 29. Subhead 03 minor equipment purchases, page 30. 001, general administration, page 30. 002, finance and accounting. 003, customs. 004, inland revenue. 007, fiscal policy research unit. 008, budget division. 011, business development unit, page 31. 012, consumer affairs. 013, cooperatives. 015, financial literacy secretariat. 016, youth energized for success, page 32. 017, emergency social and medical assistance unit. 018, communications unit. 019, economic management and research unit. Subhead 04, current transfers and subsidies, page 32. 005, non-profit institutions, member for Tabakit.
I'd like to know, the contribution to non-profit organizations, which organizations and in what amounts benefited from the $2 million and for what purposes?
In writing, it will be provided to you in writing.
And I'd also like to find out, as a subsequent question, are these transfers or subsidies given in block, or is it based upon expenditure of these organizations? Or do you just give them a blank check, as it were, and you have no way of auditing and accounting for what has been given?
Blank checks are not given.
Do you audit, or do they have to submit accounts for what was spent and how it was spent?
Yes.
Maybe we need a forensic audit into the THA to find
No.
if that is true.
So you don't believe what I'm saying?
I don't
That
trust
the-
you.
What, Madam Chairman? Madam
Members.
Chairman, please.
Members.
Please, I am simply...
No, if you want to behave like that, I
No,
can
no,
behave
Madam
like this,
Chairman,
you
I
know.
want to make a point. As Minister of Finance, there are many entities that do not have a line minister. It is the responsibility of the Minister of Finance to provide the answers at these sessions provided by the technical staff. The technical staff have told me that there are audits and there's proper accountability. I have no reason to doubt them, and I take great offense to that comment made by the member for Tabakit. I am simply repeating what the technical staff of the THA have told me, and I believe them.
And member for Tabakit, I'm certain you didn't mean it in any way as insulting, but what I would want to say to members is that if we allow ourselves to let the banter get beneath our skins, we may find ourselves in some sort of difficulty. And just one thing, and I know this is a very trying process, but I just want to remind members, this is the first of 8. And therefore, we all will have to exercise great restraint in the course of today.
But-
Let there be light. Let's move on.
And I understand what you're saying, but let us also appreciate, Madam Chair, that for years the Tobago House of Assembly did not present audited accounts which we could have verified. And therefore, one has to ask the question, the context of the performance and auditing of statements.
All right, and I hear what you say, Member for Tabakit, but I think I do recall in the brief opening statement, that there was a comment with respect to the audited accounts. And while I can't remember the year, I think it did strike me that they were up to date.
Up to 2015.
Up to 2016.
All right,
Sorry,
so,
2016, so please take that back.
all right, okay, so members, I know, members, we are now.
Madam Chairman, I just want to put on the record and repeat, I think sometimes, as you have correctly said, these things need to be said. I am advised that all financial statements of the Tobago House of Assembly up to the financial year ended September 30th, 2016 have been submitted to the Auditor General.
Not audited.
And all statements up to 2015 have been audited.
28 and so they skip these years.
So now that we have been provided with some information that should guide us, we move on to 007 households, page 33. Member for Caroni East.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning. Good day. 03, line item payment of superannuation benefits to former whom? That's a typo there. To former whom? For 2 million.
What's the question?
Line item 03.
I know, but what's the question?
Former whom?
Members of the THA.
No, but it's not stated there.
Okay, well, I'm stating it now.
All right, so former members of the THA.
Correct.
So you've got to fill in the typographical error
Yes,
that was
we will.
made.
Yes,
All right, okay.
we will.
I think maybe it's because the space allocated was not
Yeah, well, we just wanted-
sufficient
wanted some
with
clarity.
some of the descriptions.
Yeah, okay.
Okay?
That's
All
right.
right, so let's move on. Anybody else on 007 households? We move on to 009, other transfers, page 23. Member for Caroni Central.
Item 15, Madam Chair. What is the project, interest on project financing repayment? What is the project?
Which one is it? This is interest payments on financing for the operations at Studley Park.
At
Studley Park.
Studley Park, okay.
Member for Caroni Central, are you all right?
Yes,
Can I move on?
yes, I'm fine.
Okay, member for Tabakit?
Item number 17, Tobago Cassava Products Limited. Is this a company owned by the Tobago House of Assembly?
Yes.
And is it a producing company? Are they producing products? And if so, how many people are employed and what's their income?
Well, you will notice that there is no allocation. It's been transferred to another division. What do you want to know? How many people are working there?
I want to know, yeah, and what
what
kind of
else?
income they have been earning, because you have given them $3 million every year.
So you want to know how many people work there and the revenue that they generate?
Yeah,
Sure. Information will be provided.
sure.
Member for Caroni East?
Yeah, thank you. Honorable Minister, item number 15, the interest on project financing repayment of Studley Park in 2017 was 10 million, and you have estimated for 2018 to be 7.4 million. Could you give an understanding of what was the cost of the project so that these payments are being made, and how many payments again got to be made on interest and principal? Could you, if you don't have it, could you provide it in writing?
Yes.
This is item 15?
Yes.
All right, I believe Minister undertaking to provide
Well,
the details of
I've
that.
told him yes to his
All
question.
right, okay.
All
Member
right.
for Naparima?
No, just one more, Madam Chair. The Studley Park escrow account, in 2017, 10 million was allocated. We don't see, we are not able to see what has happened with the escrow account under the revised estimates. Could the minister indicate if that 10 million is still in the escrow account or if it has been paid?
So that's why we put it back.
And 5 million is being placed in 2018. So
Split period expiry.
in 2017 was 10 million and 2018 is 5 million. Two
No,
questions.
in 2017, it was 0.
2017,
It was 0.
So what has happened to the money that was
No
in the
money
escrow?
was put into the escrow account in 2017.
Yes, and it still remains there?
No money, there's a dash, so no money was put in.
All right, fine. The rest explains itself. Thanks.
Well, clearly, and the dash explains itself too.
That's all right. I got
Member
the
for
answer.
Naparima.
I got the answer that I needed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 27, venture capital. There's a 500,000 decrease. Isn't this not an area that you'd want to encourage, to develop new businesses in terms of diversity?
Well, the venture capital program in Trinidad has not been successful since it was initiated some 20 plus years ago. These types of programs come and go. The THA has an allocation of $1 million for 2018. If it needs to be supplemented, it will be.
Could you give us an idea of the projects that benefited from the
We'll give you a list.
Yeah, thanks.
For Miara, did you want to ask a question? Member for Couva South.
Madam Chair, just on the 26 project financing repayments, I see that there's an increase in this line item of 9,277,534. Could the Minister just clarify for our benefit?
Yeah, but that's what 20 and 5, isn't it?
It was reduced last year. Because of the funding. And then we have to pay for this.
This is for the building at the corner of Chauvin Park and Milford Road. It's a division of the House of Assembly, built using a bolt arrangement, and payments fluctuate.
On 26, does the liability for these payments therefore rest with the government of Trinidad and Tobago and not the Tobago House of Assembly?
The Tobago House of Assembly gets its funding in the main from the central government, you know that.
So it's still indirect. So then my next question comes. Given that in the opening statement, the minister stated that the Tobago House of Assembly will now be able to borrow money on their own, would the government still be liable for the payment of those monies borrowed by the Tobago House of Assembly?
It will be dealt with on a case-by-case basis. In some cases, the House of Assembly has indicated it would have the ability to service the debt itself. In other cases, they might come to the central government and we make a decision with respect to whether we would provide the funding for debt servicing, as the case may be. That is simply an opportunity for them to get their projects moving, to allow them to approach the market. They have a credit rating of their own. The Assembly went out on its own and got an international credit rating, which now allows them to borrow.
But would you agree that that credit rating was based upon the assumption that the Trinidad government or Trinidad and Tobago government will provide the support and the guarantees?
No. It's without a government guarantee.
Member for Pointe-a-Pierre.
I don't believe that.
You
Thank you, Madam
believe
Chair.
or not believe. I
Line
tell you
item
facts.
number 25, establishment of public-private partnership unit. $2 million, I'm assuming, was spent in 2017, thereabouts. What is this unit about, and is it just for administrative, or is it for finding projects, or?
Over the last 2 years, with the advent of this P&M administration, there has quite naturally been a far better relationship between the Minister of Finance and the Tobago House of Assembly and the central government as a whole. The THA is exploring options in terms of its development program, in terms of achieving development in Tobago, and private-public partnership is one of those options, so that this money is to develop the policy and create the bureaucracy and the infrastructure necessary to successfully execute private-public partnerships.
So could the minister be at least give us in writing how this $2 million was spent and what
Certainly.
the 1.5 will be
Yes.
spent on next year?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Member for Caroni
Thank you.
East.
That's the same line item 26, project financing repayments. Could the minister indicate the total cost of this project that he spoke about, and over what period of time the financing repayments would be made? We saw you spent 5.7 billion in 2017, and you expect to spend 15 billion in 2018. What's the total cost of that project that you said at the corner of Chauvin Road and whatever? And how long you expect that this project financing repayment will continue for? And the value, the total value for it?
Now, you've asked the same question twice.
No.
But the answer is yes to both of the same questions twice.
Oh, what's the answer, Minister?
You asked us whether we'll provide in writing the value, the cost, and the tenor of the facility. I'm
All
putting
right.
it into proper language.
Well, I just
You
wanted
asked that twice.
I wanted
and
a
I'll
definitive answer.
yes twice to those two questions.
Good.
Member for Princess Town.
So I wanted a definitive answer.
Member for Princess Town.
Madam
Yes is not
Madam-
definitive.
Chair, through you to the Honourable Minister, and I just wanted really to get this right, at least in my mind. Line item 25, with respect to the establishment of the public-private partnership unit. As the Minister is saying that after spending 2 million, we are still at the establishing fees, or is there any plans in place or any expression of interest with respect to public-private partnerships with respect to product or market development?
Still in progress with the assistance from the Caribbean Development Bank.
Are there any, at this point, any expressions of interest?
They are not at the point where they would invite proposals for PPPs. They're still in the developmental stage.
So we're saying after 2 million, nothing, in effect.
I am not saying that. I am saying they're developing the capacity to engage successfully in private-public partnerships. That is something. That is not nothing.
Division 04, Food Production, Forestry and Fisheries. Subhead 01, Personal Expenditure, page 34, 001, General Administration. 002, Agriculture. 003, Marketing. 004, Natural Resources and Forestry. 005, Marine Resources and Fisheries. Subhead 02, Goods and Services, page 35. 001, General Administration, pages 35 and 36. 002, Agriculture, pages 36 and 37.
Could I,
Member for Caroni Central.
yeah, could I ask a general question about agriculture? I mean, it's difficult to find a line item, but I just wanted to find out if there was any increase in agricultural production that's aligned to the hotel industry in Tobago. Any increase over, let's say, the last year, 2 years?
Could you just attach that to a line item, please? Well, if you cannot, I cannot assist you.
All right, I will find the appropriate line.
Sure, and
item
I
as
will
we
assist
move
you
on.
then.
Right.
003, Marketing, page 37. 004, Natural Resources and Forestry, page 38. 005, Marine Resources and Fisheries, pages 38 and 39. Subhead 03, Minor Equipment Purchases, page 39. 001, General Administration. 002, Agriculture. 003, Marketing. 004, Natural Resources and Fisheries, and Forestry, sorry. 005, Marine Resources and Fisheries, page 41. Subhead 04, current transfers and subsidies, page 41. 005, non-profit institutions. 007, transfers to households. 008, subsidies. Member for Point Appeal.
Just for some information from Minister of Finance, both subsidies of 150 and subsidies for fishermen of 450. What are these subsidies about?
Boats and fishermen.
Yeah, but what does it, the details of it? What kind of subsidy? What would a boat qualify for the subsidy?
All sorts of things associated with a boat. An engine.
So would your boat or anybody's boat qualify? I don't know. I'm just trying to find some clarity. What would the qualification be?
Fishing boats, pirogues, artisanal fishermen. I'm not, I'm
No, he's not
simply
getting angry.
responding.
He's
I'm
responding.
telling him artisanal fishing. I'm sure he knows what that means.
And the subsidy for fishermen, what qualification or how would one qualify to access that subsidy?
You have to be a bona fide fisherman or fisherwoman.
Thank you, Minister.
You're welcome.
Member for Caroni Central, sorry.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. On subsidy 008, item 04, agricultural incentive program. Has this agricultural incentive program helped the agricultural sector to provide increased supplies based on demand by the hotel industry in Tobago?
Page 40 at the end. 40.
You want a long answer or no, or a short answer? I am told, I am advised by the technocrats that the answer is yes.
Can it be quantified, Madam Chair?
Well, that's kind of difficult, you know. To link a subsidy to production is a kind of a quantum physics, you know. Quantum physics. But we'll see what we could do for you.
I want the island to make progress in self-sufficiency.
We will see. We all do. We all do. We all do. We're all interested in this. We'll see what we can provide for you in greater detail.
009, other transfers, page 41. Division 05, tourism, culture and transportation. Subhead 01, personal expenditure. 001, general administration, page 42. 002, tourism. Member for Caroni East.
Line item 01 and 02. Under salaries, could we have an appreciation of how many people are employed for those salaries with the Tobago aspect of the tourism sector? And under wages of 17 million, how many employed to have to pay the wages for 17 million? So both salaries, how many there, and for wages, how many personnel for the 17 million in the THA tourism sector?
We gave a breakdown of the total for the assembly. If you want a breakdown by division, we can do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will do that.
Right, thanks.
.007, culture, pages 42 and 43. Subhead 02, goods and services. 001, general administration, page 43. 002, member for Caroni.
Yeah, the same on line item 16. If the minister would be kind enough to provide the information on the amount of personnel under contract employment, under culture.
We'll
would
do
be
it for
appreciated.
all. You'll get a list for all.
Thank you.
So no need to ask each one.
No, I wouldn't ask anymore. If you said all, that's fine.
Second time I've said all.
No, well, reputation is good for the soul.
Never heard that.
Member for Princetown.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and sorry to repeat, Honourable Minister, but similarly, as a concern raised by Caroni East, line item 37 and 43, again, very astronomical allocations in the area of janitorial services and security services. So across the board in all divisions, instead of having to repeat and annoy you, if you can provide the service providers and the details of these service providers in relation to existing contracts.
Page 44, item 37.
No, I'm on page 43, item 37 and 43.
Page 43. 500,000 is astronomical?
Yeah.
No, man. Come on.
Well, my main concern with respect to janitorial and security services is that I would like to find out who are the service providers, seeing that you have indicated that they are private service providers, what existing contracts and the details of the contracts with respect to these service providers. Because when you look across the THA and in other ministries as well, you see very high figures for janitorial services and security services. We were advised that in other ministries this was with respect to outstanding bills. But again, these high costs is seen under the THA, and if it does not reflect outstanding bills, and it is really for private service providers, I think we would like to have an idea of who these service providers are and the details with respect to the contract details and values.
You know, at the typical wages they pay security personnel now, you're talking about 12 people. You find that is terrible and huge and enormous? 12 people? 12 people is astronomical? Come on, be serious. These are small amounts of money.
Madam, it still doesn't change the fact that I would like the details.
Get the details of the 10 or 12 people.
Right, so
It
that
could be
will
10, 12,
provided-
or 100. We still want the details. These are
Details
private
will-
service
The
providers.
details will be provided in writing. Yes? Okay, so can we move on? 002 Tourism, page 44. Member for Tabakit.
What accounted for the $22 million increase in 2017 under promotions, publicity, and printing?
Page 44, item 62.
Which for this division was 41.1 million on the whole. Nevertheless.
As you would know, the mainstay of the Tobago economy outside of the House of Assembly is the tourism sector. And therefore, it is necessary to spend money on marketing Tobago as a tourist destination. And that is what this expenditure is for.
So you allocated 8 million and you spent 30 million.
We have to rebuild the Tobago economy. What's wrong with you? You don't like tourists?
It's good the country is hearing your insults.
You could say what you want to know, but you
Members.
know that Tobago depends on tourism, and I would not allow you to deny them that opportunity.
Member for Naparima.
Item 62, the same item. Could the minister indicate in that 30 million which was spent in 2017, whether, and you talk about destination, promotions, publicity, and printing, is there any advertisements abroad about the greatness of our Tobago and the uniqueness of our Tobago?
Yes.
Was any done?
Yes.
Could you indicate on which television stations abroad?
We will provide you with a list.
Member for Kabuto Mansanilla.
I'm being told here they have television programs in United Kingdom. They use billboards. They use all forms of advertising.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Member for Kabuto Mansanilla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable Minister, in the same line item, would you be able to provide value for money in terms of how many visitors we receive from utilizing this methodology? In terms of, okay, when persons come in, you will be able to say that they read this or they got this information off of a television, so you're able to see whether the publications and the material that you're using is in fact impacting.
To do that sort of research would require some expenditure. You'd have to hire an agency. But I would say that every dollar spent on promoting Tobago is a dollar well spent.
Transport. 007, Culture, pages 45 to 46. Member for Princestown.
Madam, line item 89 and 90, cultural programs, and 90, folk and arts festivals, an allocation of 1.5 in line item 89, 90, folks and art festivals, 3 million. If we can just have a list of the cultural programs, the target areas, and the breakdown of expenditure there, as similarly with the folk and art festivals. Whether or not these are for organizations or whether these are really for projects under the THA as well. If that point could be clarified, I'll be grateful. If it's whether this allocation is for organizations who apply or whether or not these are programs that are actually put on by the THA.
Well, I invite you to come to the next Heritage Festival so you can see that these are programs put on by the Tobago House of Assembly, indigenous programs.
But are there, in this allocation, are there included in the subventions for organizations that are involved in that exercise?
No.
No. So this expenditure of 4.5 million is under THA for culture for the Tobago Heritage Festival.
It's for, I invite you to spend a little more time in Tobago. There are a series of festivals throughout the year. The Heritage Festival is just one of them.
Okay, and therefore with these allocations, I would like to have an idea of which ones, Honorable Minister, so I can familiarize myself, maybe
we will send you
in
a
anticipation of a visit.
List.
Thank you.
Subhead
Just
03, sorry, member for Canada.
The same line item with subhead 91, the Tobago Heritage Festival of 20 million, and the explanation is given there. Of 20 million being spent for the Tobago Heritage Festival, 8 million, Tobago Folk Festival, 3 million, and Tobago Music Festival, 1 million. Could the minister indicate who manages this expenditure? Is it the Assembly, or is it the Ministry of Tourism, or is it the Ministry of the Area of Culture? Could you just give us a simple explanation? This expenditure of 20 million on festivals, who is responsible for that expenditure?
Under Schedule 5 of the Tobago House of Assembly Act, this is a delegated authority of the Assembly.
And could you just indicate who which organization or who it has been delegated to, if you have the answer?
No. Within the nation state of Trinidad and Tobago,
yes,
these matters are delegated to the Tobago House of Assembly by the Parliament.
Fine, thank you, but is it, I'm just
Have
asking,
you never looked at the Act?
No, I'm asking, is it the Tobago House of Assembly that manages the expenditure of the 20 million?
Let me explain what
for
the word
festival?
delegate means in this context. Under the Tobago House of Assembly Act, there is a schedule of matters, of activities, of projects, of programs that the Tobago House of Assembly has responsibility for. They have delegated authority to manage and operate these programs under the House of Assembly Act. So it is the THA itself that is managing these activities.
Member for Princestown.
May I remind the Honourable Minister of Finance that this government is a PNM government and the THA is controlled by the PNM. Is it that there's one policy for the central government and another one for the THE. And I ask that in relation to, if we look at the Tobago Heritage Festival, Tobago Museum, Tobago Folk Festival, Tobago Music Festival, Carry Festa, 20 million. And the minister wants to tell us that the rationale is that THE is a separate entity and that there is no continuity in terms of central government and THE, even though they're both PNM controlled. How do you then rationalize 20 million is being spent for all these festivals in Tobago and you give $500,000 for Diwali?
Madam,
Is that you're saying there's a separate policy?
This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
I'm not going to allow that question.
Ridiculous.
Member for Naparima.
These are festivals in Tobago.
Member for Naparima.
Give me a chance, please. Please. I'm just asking, 94, and there's no malice in this. I'm just asking, if we could just get an idea, because it may be a good idea, and we in Trinidad could learn from Tobago, that this Tobago Indigenous and Traditional Art Academy, if it's being conceptualized within COSTART, or it's a standalone, etc., so that you could inform us and help us in Trinidad.
Don't quarrel.
So don't quarrel.
Madam Speaker, Madam Chairman, really, I object. You just have to ask the question. You don't have to insult at the beginning of the question. This academy is being established by the Assembly in collaboration with the tertiary education institutions in Trinidad and Tobago.
And can they, Madam Chair, make the results of this thing available to us so that we in Trinidad could benefit from what I think is a good idea?
Yes, but it's a
Thank you.
2018. No. The wrong impression has been created by the member. There is no allocation prior. This is a 2018 allocation.
The project is finished, that we would, benefit from whatever comes out of this idea. And we could move on, Madam Chair.
Member for Tabakit. I'm just asking if you could remind me, is it Mahatma Gandhi said, if we operated eye for an eye, we'll all end up blind? Thank you. Let's proceed. Member for Caroni Central.
Simple question, Madam Chair, to the Minister of Finance for clarification. I heard the Minister just say that the 20 million here is a new item. When I saw the blanks...
No, I never said that.
Did you say that?
No.
Okay. So is it, as I understood before, that it was simply elsewhere and transferred here?
It's simply the reorganization and realignment of the divisions. In the same way, when you have a change of government,
yeah, that's what I understood.
Different ministries, different departments go here and there. That's what it is.
Yeah, I was just surprised that I heard you say, I may have been wrong, that
you are
it was
wrong.
a new item.
You are wrong. Never said it was a new item.
Member for Cuba South.
I pass, Madam Chair.
All right, subhead 03, minor equipment purchases, page 46. 001, general administration. 002, tourism. 006, transport. Subhead 04, current transfers and subsidies. 005, non-profit institutions. 007, households. 009, other transfers.
Yes.
Member for Caroni East. Shigona East.
Thank you, Chair. Madam Chairman, line item 1313, the rolling 3-year tourism plan. Could the Honourable Minister indicate by when is this plan expected to be completed? And what would have been the final cost over the period of time? I know it is rolling so that it continues, but we can give us the period of the and the
Madam
cost.
Chairman, if the member knows it continues, then you know that it continues. So don't ask when it will end. It continues.
Could you tell us then, Madam Chair, could the Honourable Minister indicate so far if you can give us the calculations, how much have been spent on this rolling plan?
Is that not any document?
Yeah, I just want you to give me, if you could.
So it's not any document?
So it will be 61 million plus 30 million, 91 million so far has been spent with an allocation of 40 million in 2018, which will be $131 million. Is that, am I calculating correctly there, sir?
All the numbers are there?
So the question is, for the last two fiscal, including the projected estimate for 2018, this 3-year rolling plan would have cost the taxpayers $131 million.
All the information is there, but
am I correct?
All the information is there, but you should know that this includes the cost of airlift to Tobago, which is an essential ingredient in the tourism sector in Tobago. And airlift is not cheap.
Would the Honourable Minister be kind enough to let us know what are the components of this 3-year rolling plan, please? And the
problem.
All right. Can we then move on?
No, Madam Chair. Can I get your attention? 13th.
We
Same
can
item.
all get there. I've noted you.
Right.
Member for Kamuto Manzanilla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Line item number 15 and 1915. How many small properties were able to benefit from this program? And also 19, is the zip line the sole responsibility of the THA or is it a PPP arrangement?
Would you be able to say how many people? It is the THA responsibility, and we'll provide you with the numbers in writing.
Member for Princestown. Member for Caroni. Member for Caroni.
Could the Minister indicate whether this expenditure for 2016, 2017 and proposed for 2018 of what my colleague amounted?
Please,
13
Yes.
of 131 million on the 3-year tourism plan, 61 million, then 70 million. The question I want to ask is, does that include this one for 40 million for 2018? Is there any area inside there for this Sandals project?
Member, I believe the Minister said that you'll give all the components of this item.
I will, but the answer is no.
All right. Well, can I ask, while I'm still, would you permit me, Madam Chair? Item number 17, the Tobago Tourism Festival. Here we see another $18 million allocated for 2018. And we saw for Tobago Heritage Festival on page 46, 20 million, which he explained just a while ago. So in addition to this 20 million for Tobago Heritage Festival, this additional 18 million estimate for 2018, that is $38 million that we see for festivals for Tobago. Could the Minister explain this 18 million for Tobago Tourism Festival as separate and distinct for the Tobago Heritage Festivals of 20 million? That's $38 million in festivals for Tobago, Minister?
Minister of Finance.
Yes, I can explain. It's the Jazz Festival and the Culinary Festival.
Jazz, could you then, Minister, give us an idea what has been spent on the Tobago Jazz Festival for 16, 17, and what you propose to spend on 18 for the Tobago Jazz Festival?
Yes.
And could you indicate the value of the investments brought in as a result of the Tobago Jazz Festival?
That again would be akin to quantum physics. I can give you the amount spent.
That's nothing to do with physics. It's quantum, but quantity of dollars.
Madam
That's
Chairman,
nothing
I've
to do
answered
with
the question.
Member for Princestown.
If you are
Member.
Madam,
All right,
respectfully, It's the same question that Carney East is asking.
All right.
What is the expenditure, but also what is the amount of revenue that has been derived from these events, the Jazz Festival and the Culinary Festival?
So,
Certainly.
Right. So, can we, member for Naparima?
Item 19. I knew Kamutoman, my colleague from Kamutoman, Manzanella had asked about, but I just want to make sure. My question is there a justification for state involvement in zipline management? If I understand this to be moving from one place to another place on a line, what is the justification?
I suggest you ask the member for Caroni Central who established a zip line at Chagaramas during the UNC tenure. Ask him.
Yes, but it was not state-sponsored.
That is the
Involved a private sector investment.
It's currently funded by the CDA as it was under your time.
All right, member for Chaguanas East.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
I started it, but it was a private investment.
Madam Chair, just with respect to line item 20, if you could get some information with respect to this Tourism Agency Limited, Tobago Tourism Agency Limited.
Member, the question from Chaguanas East?
Yeah.
And item 20.
20, yeah. Just to get some information with respect to this new line item, the sub-item really, of $1 million.
Heard that we are separating tourism, promotion, marketing, etc.
This is what this is.
Into an
Trinidad
agency
and
in Tobago and an agency in Trinidad.
So this is what
This is for the Tobago Tourism Agency Limited.
Member for Caroni East.
Yeah. Would the minister, based on what he promised to give us, the detail of the expenditure of $38 million for festivals in Tobago, would he say that it works out to $760 per individual in Tobago or 50,000 people for a festival, $760 per person for a festival in Tobago per year? 50,000 people into 38 million.
What is the question?
Would you agree that it is costing Tobago House of Assembly $760 per person for festivals in Tobago?
No.
It is.
There's a lot,
Correct?
of tourist traffic that comes from Trinidad and other parts of the world. So your maths is wrong.
No, but
you
that
cannot
is
just look at a notional figure of the residential population of Tobago. There are a lot of visitors that come to Tobago for these festivals as part of the overall tourism effort. And you know that because you go there.
All right, Division 06, Education, Innovation and Energy, page 49. Subhead 01, Personnel Expenditure 001, General Administration, page 49. 002, Primary, Secondary, and Vocational Education, member for Caroni Central.
Minister, I just want to understand the allocation here on 002, 01, which is a 115 million in relation to what is allocated to the central government. This is a division, the division of education under the House of Assembly, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Again, delegated authority under the House
Yeah,
of Assembly.
I just want to
Well, I'm glad you know.
I just want to clarify.
Let them other fellows know.
003, Library Services. 004, School Feeding Program. 005, Sport. 007,
Madam
member
Chair,
for Caroni East.
I hope the Honorable Minister will give us an appreciation of how many personnel under line item 2.
Where are you, member?
005 Sport.
Yes, please.
Line item 02. Wages and COLA, 22 million spent. or estimated to, spent in 2017, 2018, no estimate. Could he?
Because it has gone somewhere else.
Yes, right. Could you give us an indication of how many personnel in the sporting division to account for the 22 million per year in expenditure on the wages and COLA?
But you know, Madam Chairman, for the fourth time to this particular member, I said I would give a breakdown of every single division. And I asked,
I wanted to re-emphasize.
I pleaded with the members that do not, after I've done that, when we come to each division, ask for a breakdown of individual divisions.
Minister,
We're giving you all.
Minister, based on your track record.
Madam Chairman. Madam Chairman.
Okay, please. 007, Happy Haven School, Tobago Council. Page 50. 008, Tobago School for the Deaf, Speech and Language. Head 02, Goods and Services, page 51. 001, General Administration. 002, Primary, Secondary and Vocational Education, pages 51 and 52. 003, Library Services, pages 52 and 53. 005, Sport. 006, Youth, pages 53 and 54. 007, Happy Haven School, pages 54 and 55. 008, Tobago School for the Deaf, Speech and Language, page 55. Subhead 03, Minor Equipment Purchases. 001, General Administration, page 55. 002, Primary, Secondary and Vocational Education, page 56. 003, Library Services, page 56. 008, Tobago School for the Deaf, Speech and Language. Subhead 04, Current Transfers and Subsidies, page 56. 005, Non-Profit Institutions. 006, Educational Institutions, page 57. Member for Karen, for Shogunas East.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honourable Minister, through you, Madam Chair. Line item 2020. Can we get a sense as to how many schools, these private secondary schools, and how many students are engaged in this fee for students? And if we have an idea as to the cost per student. So the number of schools, the number of students, and the cost per student.
Yes. And while we're on that, I'm advised by the Parliament that the THA always provides the answers to the questions, and therefore it is wrong for members, as several members have continuously said, to falsely state that the answers are not provided.
Madam Chair, can I continue to get some
Yes.
an idea as to what, if you could get an explanation of line item 21, Tobago Science, Technology and Tertiary Education. What does that really mean?
Again, delegated authority for tertiary education, higher education, just like secondary and primary. They do have higher education in Tobago, by the way, for your information.
Okay. 007, Households. 009, Other Transfers, page 57, 58. Member for Naparima.
Item 01, just an explanation of basic grants. And you could do that in writing.
Member for Shogunas East.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Line item 01, Households, School Feeding Program. Will the Minister or the THA be able to tell us how many contractors and how many meals are provided? You could give it to us in writing.
No problem, but coming back to the earlier question from Naparima, those are grants for the assisted schools. You know, you have the nominational government, that kind of thing. So that's grants for assisted schools, and with respect to school feeding, You want the number of people who are fed, children that are fed, and
Contractors. Yeah.
and the number of contractors?
And I don't know if you could be able to tell us, Honorable Minister, are all of these contractors paid up to date, or are they owed?
We'll provide as much information as we can, within reason.
Member for Tabakit. Member for Caroni East.
Line item 09, the early childhood care. In 2017, 3 million was spent, but there's a decrease of 2,500, so only 500,000 is allocated this year for early childhood care, as opposed to 3 million spent in 2017. Is there an explanation why there is the decreased spending on ECC, which your government says is the bedrock of education, which we anchor?
Right, he wants to know.
Line item 09.
There's less money there.
Why you have a decrease?
Whatever is required will be provided.
Madam Chairman, if I may be allowed to add to what the minister just said. There was a loan negotiated from the IDB for early childhood centers. 5 were supposed to be built in Tobago under the last administration. They built none.
Don't say that.
They built none
Minister,
in
don't go there.
Tobago. And so we are in the process of renegotiating the loan in order to engage the IDB to ensure that we get the 5 schools built in Tobago. And that is why there's a decrease in the amount, because the IDB will be funding the loans. Not one of the 5 schools were built in Tobago.
Member, please. Member. Member.
He had engaged in
Member for
discussions with the
Caroni
THA.
East.
And they
Member
have-
for Caroni East. Member for Caroni East, I am not recognizing this. All right, member for Naparimo.
That's building grants to assisted schools, and it's only $150,000. That seems to be pretty small. Two building grants to assisted schools.
You're going into 009.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, we could go there, you know.
Okay, so we're now going on to 009, other transfers, pages 57 to 58. Member for Naparimo.
Well, I think he asked the question. I just want to repeat, the Tobago House of Assembly gets a block allocation every quarter, and they have the authority to via and transfer. And if additional funding is required for this, it will be found.
Okay.
Division 07, Community Development, Enterprise Development and Labor. Subhead 01, Personal Expenditure. 001, General Administration, page 59. 002, Community Development. 003, Culture. Subhead 02, Goods and Services. 001, General Administration, page 60. 002, Community Development, page 60 and 61. 003, Culture, pages 61 and 62. 004, Labor. 005, Occupational Safety and Health, page 63. Subhead 03, Minor Equipment Purchases. 001, General Administration, page 63. 002, Community Development. 003, Culture. 004, Labor, page 64. 005, Occupational Safety and Health. Subhead 04, Current Transfers and Subsidies. 005,
Yeah, Madam Chair?
005, Non-Profit.
No, 04.
Subhead
04.
04, current transfers and subsidies.
Line item.
005
No.
non-profit institution.
Madam Chair, I want to ask a question on 04, current transfers and subsidies. You know.
And member.
Yeah, put up a hand.
Yes,
Ma-
Yeah, but not recognized. Oh, you're now there. Thank you. All right. Okay.
Remember, there's no way I can fail to recognize you.
Oh.
005 non-profit institutions, page 64 to 65.
All right.
Yes,
I
member
ask-
for Caroni East.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for the recognition always. I appreciate it. The regional complexes, line item 16. Could we get an appreciation of what these regional complexes are? Is that the main complex or is?
For a list? A list you want?
Well, what are the regional complexes, if you want to just
So you
tell
want
us
to know
now?
where they are, the names, that kind of
Not
thing?
in all that detail, just give an idea.
Okay, we'll provide you with those details.
All right.
Member for Oropuch West.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable Minister, line item 01, small grants. What does that entail and how does one qualify to get a small grant?
Assistance to cultural groups.
What did you say, Honorable Minister?
I said this provision is for assistance to cultural and community groups to develop the art form, etc. It's done in Trinidad. The government did it.
007 households. Naparima.
Item 22, under 04, developing communities through heritage. Now, this is in addition to the 20 million for the Tobago Heritage Festival. I'm just asking, what does that mean?
Well, I think this is self-evident. The Heritage Festival is in a particular location. This is a community
But does it
program.
not involve communities
No, well, it would be in
presenting in that?
Yes, but this is outreach in the community itself. You're not familiar with community programs? In the community?
All right, let's go on.
You're not aware of that?
007 households. 009 other transfers. Division 08 infrastructure, quarries and the environment. Subhead 01 personal expenditure. 001 general administration, page 66. 002 maintenance of roads. 003
Madam
excuse
Chair,
me.
I hope the minister will provide, even say, if he wants to say it for the 5th time, the amount of personnel that
All
is
right,
responsible.
I think we do have that. member.
02,
We do have that.
471 million.
We do have that. 003
Terrible,
maintenance
you know.
and buildings.
Terrible repetition.
004 transport. 005 electoral inspectorate. 007 mechanical workshop, page 67. Subhead 02 goods and services. 001 general administration, page 67 and 68. 002 maintenance of roads. 003, maintenance of buildings, page 69. 004, transport division. 005, electrical inspectorate, page 70. 007, mechanical workshop. 009, the environment. Subhead 03, minor equipment purchases, page 71. 001, general administration. 002, maintenance of roads. 003, maintenance of buildings, page 72. 004, transport. 005, electrical inspectorate. 007, mechanical workshop. 009, the environment. Subhead 04, current transfers and subsidies, page 73. 005, non-profit institutions. 007, households. 009, other transfers. Member for Point of Pear.
Under other transfers, 01, Studley Park Enterprises Limited, $10 million. It appears to be a new sub-item. Can the minister enlighten us what this, I keep seeing Studley Park throughout the, yeah, Studley Park Enterprises, what is that?
Understanding is they're going to convert the quarry into a corporate, a body corporate. So this is to create the company organization and structure to make them more efficient.
So the quarry was in another...
It's a division.
It's a division. So now you're creating a corporate entity.
A body corporate.
Body corporate. And this is startup funding?
Yes, seed capital. You good with that?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Division 09, agriculture, marine affairs, marketing and the environment. Subhead 01, personal expenditure. 001, general administration, page 74. 002, agriculture. 003, marketing. 004, natural resources and the environment, page 75. 005, marine resources and fisheries. Subhead 02, goods and services. 001, general administration, page 76. 002, agriculture, page 77. 003, marketing, pages 78, 77 and 78. 004, natural resources and the environment. 005, marine resources and fisheries, pages 79 and 80. Subhead 03, minor equipment purchases, page 80. 001, general administration. 002, agriculture. 003, marketing. 004, natural resources and environment. 005, marine resources and fisheries. Subhead 04, current transfers and subsidies, page 81. 005, non-profit institutions. 007, households. 008, subsidies. Division 10, health, wellness and family development. Subhead 01, personal expenditure, page 82. 001, general administration. 002, hospitals. 003, health centers. 004, public health and environment. 005, social services, page 83.
Yeah,
Member for Caroni East.
That's 004, public health and the environment. I pass. It's all right. Pass on it.
Why is so?
No.
Zero, subhead
I don't want to-
02,
I don't want to
goods and
annoy you.
services, page 83. 001, general administration. 002, hospitals, page 84. 003, health centers, pages 84 and 85. Member for Faisabad.
Mr. With regards to item 16, contract employment, I note that from 2016 expenditure of 8,000, we've gone up to 600,000. Can the minister indicate what sort of contract employment this would entail? With
Remember
regards to
you're
health
under what
centers?
head, excuse me, health centers?
Health centers, yeah.
Yes, okay.
Line item 16.
Who are employing in the health centers for
Thank you.
600,000?
Just to have an idea of what is involved in this expenditure.
This one here.
A contract.
This one for health centers. 600,000. So what you're looking at is that it was much smaller before. It was 8,000 before and now it's gone to 600. Look at it, look at it. It was 8,000 and now gone to 600. Get back to you in writing.
Sure, thank you.
004, public health and the environment. Member for Faisabad.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 28, other contracted services. Again, I noticed a decrease from 2016, 22 million to 10,400,000, just to get an understanding of what this expenditure would
But we're
entail.
going forward into 2018, you know.
Yeah.
And the figure is almost the same. So
Sure.
what's the issue?
Sure, but I'm just asking what.
No, we discussed that
entail.
last year. You asked that question last year.
Did I?
Yes.
Okay. Did you answer? I can't remember.
Okay, but we'll
Thank you.
provide
I'll
with
check.
the-
I'll check the
We'll
record.
provide you with the
I'll check.
information.
Thank you, Mr.
Again, we'll provide it again.
You have a good- you have a
005,
good memory.
social services. 007, probation services. 008, litter eradication program. 009, gender affairs. Subhead 03, minor equipment purchases, page 87. 001, general administration. 003, health centers. 004, public health and the environment. 005, social services. 008, litter eradication program. 009, gender affairs. Subhead 04, current transfers and subsidies, page 88. 005, non-profit institutions. Member for Kumutu Manzanilla. 007, households. Member for Kumutu Manzanilla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable Minister, can you advise on line item 06, the Children's Authority? What aspect of the Children's Authority will be established in Tobago?
Hasn't been established yet. It's being established. Work in progress.
Member for Naparima.
I'm looking at households 03, assistance to home for the aged. I see it's only $30,000. Do you have any data on the number of elderly persons that 30,000 relates to, or homes, or number of homes?
Page is that?
Page 88. I will have to put that in writing because each home will have different.
Or is it one home?
It's more than one.
Well, it's a consistent sum, but I mean, you can provide you with some details.
Yes, I have a concern for the elderly.
So you should. And you too. We all do.
009, other transfers. Member for Faisabad.
Minister, the other transfer to Tobago Regional Health Authority, I note a decrease of 36.3 million in the 2018 allocation. Can the minister indicate
Page 89.
how this is expected to
07.
affect the healthcare services provided by the TRHA? In particular, will any services be cut, for example?
Have a symbiotic relationship with the THA with respect to the RHA, the TRHA. We'll deal with it if it's necessary.
Does that mean for the allocation, Minister? I'm trying to understand.
If it's necessary.
Okay.
Division 11, Settlement, Urban Renewal and Public Utilities. Subhead 01, Personal Expenditure, page 90. 001, General Administration. 002, Settlements. Subhead 02, Goods and Services. 001, General Administration, pages 90 and 91. 002, Settlements. Member for Kamutu Manzanilla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable Minister, I'm noticing line 002, settlements, coming up. It's a new line item. Can you identify what this will, in fact, be used towards?
Traveling and subsistence.
There were no traveling officers associated with this subdivision before. Traveling officers get traveling allowances and benefits.
003, Labor. Subhead 03, Minor Equipment Purchases, page 92. 001, General Administration. 002, Settlements. 003, Labor, page 93. Subhead 04, Current Transfers and Subsidies. 005, Non-Profit Institutions, page 93. 007, Transfers to Households, page 93. Division 12, Planning and Development. Subhead 01, Personal Expenditure. 001, Administration, page 94. Subhead 02, Goods and Services. 001, General Administration, pages 94 and 95. 002, Planning. 004, Land Management, page 96. Subhead 03, Minor Equipment Purchases. 001, General Administration. 004, Land Management. Division 13, Sport and Youth Affairs. Subhead 01, Personal Expenditure, page 97. 001, General Administration. 002, Sport. Subhead 02, Goods and Services. 001, General Administration, pages 97 and 98. 002, Sport. 003, Youth, page 99. Subhead 03, Minor Equipment Purchases, page 100. 001, General Administration. 002, Sport. Subhead 04, Current Transfers and Subsidies. 005, Non-Profit Institutions. 007 transfers to households. Honorable members, we now move on to the draft estimates of the development program, the front book. Subhead 09, Development Program, Consolidated Fund, page 20. Consolidated Fund, page 20, item 002, Productive Services. Item 003, Economic Infrastructure, page 21 to 31. Item 004, Social Infrastructure, pages 31 to 43. Item 005, Multi-sectoral and Other Services, pages 43 to 46. Honorable members, the question is that the sum of $2,175,683,000 for Head 15, Tobago House of Assembly, stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The sum of $2,175,683,000 for the Head 15, Tobago House of Assembly, now stands part of the schedule. I'd like to thank the representatives of the Tobago House of the Assembly for their assistance. Head 16, Central Administrative Services, Tobago. Head 16, Central Administrative Services, Tobago, $43,617,000. I now invite the Minister of State in the Office of the Prime Minister to make a brief opening statement not exceeding 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Central Administrative Services Tobago is the department of government responsible for coordinating and administrating central government services in Tobago. CAST comprises of the following units: Administrative Services, Weights and Measures Inspectorate, Register General, and Meteorological Services. CAST aims to be an innovative, technologically driven service organization propelled by a highly skilled workforce facilitating the sustainable development of Tobago. For fiscal 2018, CAST received an allocation of $43,617,000, $33 million under Recurrent, and $10,617,000 under development. Our allocation will be used to complete those initiatives we started last fiscal year in a thrust to contribute to sustainable development of Tobago and the empowerment of the people. Until the Metrology Act is fully enforced, the Weights and Measures Inspectorate will continue to work towards ensuring all weighing and measuring instruments in Tobago are accurately calibrated so that the people of Tobago receive value for money. The Met Office in Tobago can now boast of operating a new state-of-the-art facility that is outfitted to serve as a shelter in the event of a natural disaster. Met is currently working towards regularizing staff and introducing different services that will benefit our farmers, marine interests, and other stakeholders. In this regard, Met will install additional automatic weather stations across the island and produce educational videos for school outreach. The Registrar General's office will be giving Tobagonians access to computers to facilitate members of the public doing online land researches. In addition, the Office of the Registrar General will continue the public education and sensitization efforts regarding insertion of names on birth certificates for those Tobagonians who are not registered at birth. Thank you.
Honorable members, the question is that the sum of $43,617,000 for Head 16, Central Administrative Services Tobago, stand part of the schedule. Honorable members, the sum of $43,617,000 for Head 16, Central Administrative Services Tobago, is comprised of monies proposed for expenditure under following subheads and items to be found in the draft estimates of recurrent expenditure and the draft estimates of development program. We now proceed to consider the draft estimates of recurrent expenditure. We are at page 66. Subhead 01, Personal Expenditure. Item 001, General Administration. Item 002, Trade and Industry. Item 005, Met Services, page 67. Item 007, Registrar General. Subhead 02, Goods and Services. Item 001, General Administration, pages 68 and 69. Item 002, Trade and Industry. Item 005, Met Services, pages 69 and 70. Item 007, Registrar General. Subhead 03, Minor Equipment Purchases, page 71. Item 001, General Administration. Item 005, Met Services. Item 007, Registrar General, page 72. Subhead 04, Current Transfers and Subsidies. Item 005, Non-Profit Institutions, page 72. Item 011, Transfers to State Enterprises, page 72. Honorable members, we will now move on to the draft estimates of the development program. We are at page 48. Subhead 09, Development Program, Consolidated Fund, page 48. Item 005, Multi-Sectoral and Other Services, page 48. Honorable members, the question is that the sum of $43,617,000 for Head 16, Central Administrative Services Tobago, stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The sum of $43,617,000 for Head 16, Central Administrative Services Tobago, now stand part of the schedule. I'd like to thank the representatives from CAS. Safe journey back. We now move on. Head 77, Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries. We now at page 386 of the draft estimates of recurrent expenditure. Head 77, Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries, $771,704,362.
Thank you.
I will now invite the Minister of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries to make a brief opening statement, not exceeding 5 minutes. Minister.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, in the hours after the delivery of the budget, there were reports and discussion on the reduced allocation to the ministry, and the sum of $544 million was the sum being quoted. I just want to clarify as I open that the $544 million represents the recurrent expenditure to be funded out of the consolidated fund. But the ministry is funded out of different accounts, and had previously in the media given an account of it. The combination of the recurrent that comes out of consolidated and the transfers and subsidies and the allocation for the development program comes up to $795 million. The reforestation project, which is a major project of the ministry, which crosses 41 constituencies in the country, is funded out of the unemployment fund, $98 million in the last fiscal. There is in the Ministry of Finance allocation, an allocation to ADB of $50 million for this fiscal, and an allocation of $2.6 million for the Seafood Industry Development Company. There is in the Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government an allocation for $6 million for the Moruga Port, for which the Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries is the ultimate beneficiary. There is an allocation in E-Tech for the Moruga Agro-Industrial Estate, an allocation of $69 million, for which the ministry is the ultimate beneficiary. And based on previous announcements by the government, the allocation for CPEP of $350 million for this year, the ministry is supposed to share in 1/3 of that, in the approximate sum of $116 million. That brings us to $1.136 billion, Madam Chair, and I've not included in that the allocation for EMBD for recurrent for this year, currently 1975 Limited, and Palo Seco Agricultural Enterprises Limited, which was transferred to the ministry towards the end of September. The philosophy of the ministry remains to have a manageable PSIP and to focus on priority areas. In this fiscal year, our priority areas are land administration and the continued investment in the ministry's IT infrastructure. I just want to make a comment on the budget and the way it works, because I know for example, my colleague, the member for Mayaro, has made some comments on the spending of the ministry, and I guess I would address it during the discussions on the allocation. But notwithstanding what is allocated through the budgetary process, spending is dependent on the cash flow and is dependent on the work that is done in the ministry through its contractors, and I would comment on it, I'm sure, as we go along. And I'll close by saying a very important part of the work of the ministry is the work that is done across the country for farmers and fishermen. And this ministry has been hampered in some way by having 20% of its public service positions vacant. Out of an establishment of 2010, there are 404 public service vacancies, and I guess that every current minister and every past minister understands that there is only so much you could do to get those vacancies filled, and I look forward to having the full complement of the ministry so that we could get the business of our fisher folk and our farmers, our state land users done across the country. Thank you.
Honorable members, the question is that the sum of $771,704,362 for Head 77, Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries stand part of the schedule. Honorable members, the sum of $771,704,362 for Head 77, Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries, is comprised of monies proposed for expenditure under the following subheads and items to be found in the draft estimates of recurrent expenditure, the draft estimates of the revenue and expenditure of statutory boards and similar bodies and the Tobago House of Assembly, and the draft estimates of the development program. We now proceed to consider the draft estimates of recurrent expenditure. Subhead 01, Personal Expenditure, Item 001, General Administration, page 386. Member for Kamuto Mansanilla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable Minister, line item number 14. Can you indicate how many cabinet-appointed committees are there and what their functions are, please?
That response in writing. You have several standing committees of the cabinet and they have various functions of the ministry. Many of them are statutory functions.
Item 002, Agriculture, page 387. Member for Couva South.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Minister just indicated that there are 404, I think, vacancies within the Ministry of Agriculture. And I see that there's been an increase of $1 million for wages and COLA. Could you provide an explanation what has accounted for this increase of $1 million?
Well, the increase in most cases covered those increases in statutory costs or increases which were negotiated by the trade unions. In this case, it would most likely be the increase in statutory costs.
You're sure is an increase in its statutory costs?
Yes, I could verify it and provide the response to you in writing.
Minister, under agriculture, you have an allocation of $41.5 million for salaries and COLA, and $77 million under wages and COLA. It gives you about $118 million. When you opened your statement, you said that your goals were IT infrastructure and land management, your focus. What goals have you set for the agricultural sector in terms of increased food production to justify these kinds of expenditures in salaries and COLA and wages and COLA?
Well, from the outset of my appointment, I've made the point that it is not just to set a production target for food production. The first thing we have to accept is that we have food production. People talk about diversifying into agriculture. Agriculture has long been an economic contributor. Yeah. What has happened over time is that the significance of it as a contributor to GDP has declined, but we have production. The key thing we have to do is to effect a behavioral change in the case of individuals in this country who have a preference and a habit of purchasing imported produce and imported products that we produce here, in some cases, fresh fruit and vegetables that our farmers produce, and it's offered for sale, and in some cases, processed food that can be substituted with local production. So the target we've set is to effect the behavioral change in this country by putting produce and production closer to consumers, making it available, and promoting the idea of supporting local production through changes in consumption patterns.
Your wages and COLA does not support people actually producing agricultural products. Your people in Ministry of Agriculture don't actually go and plant except for forestry and seeds. Is this a reference to that, those people?
This is something you understand as well as I do, that we have inherited a structure. In the case of the permanent establishment from the public service, we all inherit a structure. And in the daily paid establishment, we have workers on the payroll. One of the ways in which we can help food production generally is by increasing the productivity of the workers. And I'm sure you've heard me across the country. In your time as minister, you would have been doing the same thing, appealing to them. We have limitations in what we can do as ministers. And the permanent secretary and the directors of the ministry have a responsibility to ensure that people show up for work and they're productive. But when I was here last time before the standing committee and we discussed livestock, for example, I made the point that the ministry is too inward looking. In other words, our resources on labor and feed and so on goes towards tending a flock, tending our own livestock. And what we should be doing is putting those resources behind getting the right skills and the right people to support the production of the farmers. That would not happen overnight. And last year before the standing committee, I talked about a review that we had commissioned. And the final report was delivered at the end of August. And in this fiscal year, we will implement it. And that report recommends in some of the areas of the ministry a consideration of private-public partnership. Because we have assets. We have Morro Valley, we have Aripo, we have Monjalu, we have physical assets placed in the hands completely or partially of the private sector that would reduce the burden on the ministry, but also provide the boost in food production that we need when it comes to livestock, for example.
Minister, one final question. Are you therefore suggesting that you are not getting value for money out of the spending of this $118 million now at the Ministry of Agriculture as you would expect to get in boosting even further food production?
I would answer it in this way. Given a completely free hand to reorganize how we spend that wage bill, how we utilize that, I would not be doing it in this way. We ought to be spending it behind high-quality technical people, paid well and highly motivated to do the job. And it's a flexibility that we do not have. So it takes a lot longer to get certain changes done within the ministry.
Member for Cuba South.
Madam Chair, just so the Minister referred to the Aripo farm. Are you willing to provide us with a status on this particular farm?
Well, I could provide you with the status in what context?
Well, its present state of operation.
Well, might ask what line item we're under, Member for Cuba South?
In terms of wages and salaries and so on.
Well, I could provide that to you in writing in terms of the different categories of livestock up at the farm and the cost of the labor at the farm. But I could also say that Aripo, that particular asset is one that presents itself for the infusion of private sector interest, and it is something that the government intends to explore.
So you are telling us that the government is pursuing a policy of private sector participation in the operations of that farm?
Of that farm and any other asset of that nature in which there is private sector interest and in which we believe that we'll be making a better contribution to the farmers by reworking the way in which we deal with the asset. Of course, anything like that would be based on a public advertisement of the interest.
Okay, and the model, the government will return the majority shareholding or?
Member for Couva South, what line item are we under? We are at item 002.
Yes, Madam Chair. Based on what the minister is revealing to the meeting, they're seeking some additional information and clarification.
And again, I ask under what line item?
Well, Madam Speaker, we are on wages and salaries, and I'm very concerned whether people at this farm and other farms may be sent home and so on within the Ministry of Agriculture.
We are at page 387. What I'm seeing is an increased allocation in both, under both heads for 2018 estimates, 01 and 02. Both allocations have been increased. Okay. So are there any other questions on the 002 agriculture? Item 003, animal production and health, pages 387 and 388. Member for Tabakit.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Minister, similar to what we spoke about on the agriculture, again, we are spending $34.5 million on the animal production and health. What I'm concerned about is the spending of the money, yes. But spending of the money should be in relation to some targets. And I'm looking at 1 and 2 on the animal production, separating health for a moment, animal production, and asking whether you have set targets in terms of increasing the amount of kilograms of pork, lamb, chicken, goat, duck, the number of heifers available that you're breeding and so on. Have you set targets for this year that will cause an increase in animal production and meat?
The target, as I said before, the target that we've set is the implementation of recommendations in the report that we commissioned. And in implementing those recommendations, the recommendations call for reduction of the ministry's activities in certain areas, the removal of duplication, the focus on certain types of activities in relation to private livestock farmers and so on. So the implementation of that report will lead to a greater focus on private sector production. And that is what we're working towards. Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Minister, could you clarify for us in the context of animal production, is there a livestock board in relation
Madam
to
Chairman,
this?
could I ask what line item that is, please?
Madam Chairman, I am asking this in the context
Madam
of
Chairman, may I ask what line
animal
item that is,
production.
please? No, but which line item in animal production?
Wages and
How could a
salaries.
board be associated with wages and COLA? You should know better than that as a union man and a former minister in finance.
Member for
You should know better
Tabakit,
than that.
member for Couva South, I'll give you an opportunity to find the question that you would like to relate to a line item. Member for Tabakit.
Item 01.
01. Yes.
Mr. Minister, under this item, salaries, you would have a number of highly paid technical people working for you, experts in the field. Are you using these experts in any way to resuscitate the Buffalipso in Trinidad?
Well, I wouldn't say resuscitate, because we do have the Buffalipso. The problem with the Buffalipso, something that we've lived with for about 14 years or more, is brucellosis. And again, we have to make the decision to accelerate the culling of that herd in Morro Valley. Morro Valley is maybe 90% a brucellosis herd. So we will only deal with brucellosis in the country, and we'll only be able to grow the Buffalipso herd if we get rid of the animals and if we develop, expand the herd on a farm that is free from buffer lips. And that is the direction we have to go.
Anybody? Okay. Item 004, horticulture, page 388. Item 005, land and marine resources, page 389. Member for Tobago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mr. Minister, horticulture provides a very lucrative market in terms of export earnings and foreign exchange. What are you doing, again, in this, using wages and so on, 13.57 million plus 1.9, that's about $16 million in order to boost horticultural production so that we can earn foreign exchange? Do you have a program, a mapped out program over time that you're going to implement?
Important thing that we did as a government, because when I came in, I was told by the local producers that the administration that preceded us did not show a particular interest in having local flowers used in floral arrangements sourced for government functions and so on, particularly anything relating to the line of Balize flowers. So what we've done is, one of the most important things we've done is to ensure that public spending, where we spend the taxpayers' money on floral products, it is for local production. That is one. And two, that horticulture vote covers not only floral production, it covers the maintenance of the botanic gardens, the savanna, and ornamental production and so on. There is renewed interest in local horticulture production. Some of the people who went out are getting back in, and it is an interest that we continue to encourage.
Item 005, land and marine resources. Item, member for Kamutu Manson. Item 006, surveys and mapping. Member for Chaguanas West.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To the Honourable Minister, I don't know whether this is within surveys and mapping or in the next category, land management. On the salaries and allowances, item 1, whether the surveys have been completed in the Monroe Road area for the allocation of lands. So I don't know whether it is this heading or the next heading. Land management.
It's a combination of the two, and the fact is that
01, surveyors within the ministry.
01 is salaries and cost of living allowances.
Yeah, you have employees of the land and or the survey and mapping department.
Yes, and what's your question?
Whether they have completed these surveys at the Monroe Road area for the allocation of lands.
They have been completed.
So the next question that follows up really consequentially, when will there be allocation in that area?
I hope soon.
It is dependent upon the State Solicitor Department?
Yeah.
Member for Kamutu Manson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honourable Minister, line item 08, vacant posts. Can the Honourable Minister indicate how many qualified persons in mapping currently hold positions in this unit?
Madam Chair, I'll have to provide that answer in writing.
Okay, can we go on now? Item 007, land management, page 390. Member for Kamutu Manson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honourable Minister, under line item 01, salaries and costs of living, can you identify how many persons are in fact employed in the land management? And I have a subsequent question.
Madam Chair, I'll have to provide that in writing.
Okay, when the Honourable Minister provides it in writing, I would like to also find out if the number of persons employed would be enough to deal with the need to possess land tenure and regularization of farmers, please. Thank you.
Item 008, fisheries. Item 010, forestry, member for Miaro.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Minister, line item 1 for remuneration to cabinet appointed committees. Can you provide us in writing the members of that committee, and if you can give us an idea of what is the function of that committee? And 3, is this a new committee since I saw no spending was made in 2017 on that committee?
Madam Chair, I'll provide the information in detail in writing.
Honorable Minister, line item 02, wages and COLA, for the estimate for 2018 is 52 million. Forestry Division, could you give us an appreciation of where most of these personnel are located for employment, whether it's in the reforestation program or nursery program, or give us a little idea of the different areas?
Well, this item deals with daily paid workers who are deployed in forestry across the country. It is not the National Reforestation Program, which is a program where we use contractors. These are daily paid workers working at the conservancies all over the country.
Are they, sorry?
At the conservancies of forestry conservancies all over the country.
All right. And where do workers for nurseries and so on, that's another contracted area? Or?
The nurseries are in 8 areas across the country, and we have daily paid workers at those nurseries too.
Does that come under this item?
Yes, it does.
Is there any move to increase the amount of nursery products across the country? Because there's always a shortage, and the private sector chips in, but it's very expensive for the people.
The salaries.
Yeah, I was just asking.
I would allow that on the salary and
No,
wages.
but that is.
Do you have any other question on the?
No. That was my main
fine.
question. Yeah.
Subhead 02, Goods and Services, page 391. Item 001, General Administration, member for Miaro.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Minister, item 08, Rent Lease Office Accommodation and Storage. Can you identify, this is the building that is being rented for the Forestry Division. Where is it currently located? And if you can identify if this building contract would have been renewed in fiscal 2017?
I would have to provide that response in writing, Madam Chair.
Item 002, Agriculture, page 393. Member for Kumutu Manzanilla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Line item number 1717, training. Honorable Minister, in light of the fact that we had to destroy 200,000 citrus plants, would you think that there would be need for adequate training, and this amount here allocated is in fact very low?
I don't think is very low, particularly for what you've identified as a training need. I think the allocation is sufficient because we have allocations of training throughout the ministry.
I noticed that it is in fact decreased by $171,000 in general admin, and there is no line item in the animal production. And again, with what you just indicated, with the culling of the buffalypsos, I mean, you would need training to help persons understand what they're dealing with, and to also bring about a new understanding of the various diseases that may impact upon the industry.
As I said, I think the across the ministry, the allocation and the resources for training and for dealing with citrus greening and the buffalypso, the resources exist.
393, member. Member for Miaro.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Are we still under sub-item 02, Goods and Services, ma'am?
02, item 002.
002, okay, no problem.
Right, so we're on page 393. Item 003, Animal Production and Health, page 394. Item 004, Horticulture, pages 394 and 395. Item 005, Land and Marine Resources, page 395. Item 006, Surveys and Mapping. Item 007, Land Management. Item 008, Fisheries, page 398. Item 009, Agricultural Land Administration Division. Item 010, Forestry, page 399 to page 340, page 400. Subhead 03, Minor Equipment Purchases. Item 001, General Administration. Item 002, Agriculture. Subhead 04, Current Transfers and Subsidies. Item 002, Commonwealth Bodies. Member for Tabakit. Item 003, United Nations Organizations. Item 005, Non-Profit Institutions. Member for Oropouche West.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable Minister, I am in line 04, SFC, Sugarcane Feed Center. What's the status of this institution? Is it still in tilapia production, and with respect to the fingerling production, what's the status?
Yes, the SFC continues to operate aquaculture projects, livestock projects, and abattoir, and other activities relating to agriculture.
Is it still into tilapia production?
Yes, it is.
And what is the quantity or the amount produced per year?
I would have to give you that in writing.
Member for Tabakit.
Is the Sugarcane Feed Center breaking even?
It is not.
Yeah, serious question.
Member for Miaro.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Minister, item 01, Caribbean Fisheries Training and Development. I noticed there's a $500,000 reduction in the funding for that training and development. In lieu of our, the importance of the diversification into the fisheries, what impact do you think that reduction could have on that area in the development process?
We don't anticipate any problems with the reduction. The reduction is based on the CFTDI focusing on what we believe they are good at, and that is the training part of the activities.
Member for Couva South.
Thank you, Chair. In relation to the Sugarcane Feed Center, Mr. Minister, is it involved from a research and development point of view in the area of dairy?
No, it is not.
Okay.
Member for Miaro. Member for Naparima.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 06. Given that at the age profile of farmers, at least in the Naparima constituency, are over 50, in many cases over 60, and we are trying to, the country should be trying to get a new generation of farmers and to encourage people, because law, engineering, and medicine are the areas they want to go in. If in item 06, 4-H Young Farmers Club, in 2017, 500,000 was allocated, but only 256 was spent. 256. Would you, and given the allocation of 400,000, do you not think this is an area we would want to emphasize? I knew in the colonial days, every primary school had a garden outside, and students were encouraged to join clubs like these.
Well, the allocation, we believe the allocation for 4-H is sufficient, because we have other activities in the ministry and its agencies directed towards youth, and we have a new program coming on this year that we believe would make the desired impact.
Okay, and not disagreeing, are you satisfied, and this is from a country standpoint, that younger people are being encouraged to go into to take up farming?
I believe the young people who have grown up in farming families have an interest in farming. I also have said publicly that I believe security of tenure of land is a big factor in keeping them interested.
Member for Couva South.
Very much, Madam Chair. Going back to Sugarcane Feed Center 04. Mr. Minister, is there any outstanding liabilities for the employees of the Sugarcane Feed Center?
I can't say yes or no. To my recollection, no, but I could provide the response in writing.
Would appreciate.
Member for Urupuch West.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable Minister, line 05, Rural Women Producers Network. What does this entail? Because I'm seeing only an allocation of $25,000. How far does $25,000 will take this network?
The Rural Producers, Women Producers Network is essentially a private organization working with women across the country. They receive funding from other agencies, and this is the contribution that the ministry, on behalf of the taxpayers, make to them, and they seem very well satisfied with it.
And how many women?
It's women across the country. I could find out from the network how many women they work with. I could provide a response in writing.
Members, it's now 4:30. It's agreed that we will take the suspension. Now we'll resume at 5 o'clock.